Hey everyone, in this tutorial I will show you how you can create this kind of product rendering environment thing. This is our reference image here, link in the description. And this here on the top left is our result that you will achieve today. It's my first Blender tutorial today, and maybe for some of you that's very unexpected, believe me, for me too. But after 1.5 years of plasticity tutorial, I just lack a little bit of color in my life. So that's why I may be thinking implement more Blender tutorials. So I started to learn that, because I come from a Cinema 4D background and I usually prefer Cinema 4D, but all of you, like 80-90% of you are using Blender. So I can learn that, not a problem. And I'm thinking about doing product rendering tutorials, abstract stuff, geometry nodes, like environment, everything, just having fun rendering and using Blender. So let me know if you want Blender tutorials. But in this tutorial we will create this really cool, very simple scene. And you can put like a cosmetic tube, bottle, perfume inside of that and just reach out to some clients and you can make a few bucks with that so easy. Or you can just sell those images like here on a free pick or on Adobe Stock, Shutterstock. It's so easy to make a little bit of money with that. So I will just show it to you and then you can do with that whatever you want. So let's start with a new scene and I will show you absolute everything step by step. So if you're a beginner, you can follow along. So first of all, I will close this area here at the bottom and just go to that image and just download that and put it here onto PureRef. So just download PureRef, it's free, and just have it here as a reference so we see what we are doing. And by the way, so that's why I'm doing this tutorial, because I learned the best while teaching other people and by recreating other stuff as exact as possible. Like it's a complete cheat code if you want to learn fast. Just copy other people when you're learning, because then you have to figure out how to do that. And okay, here is like this shadow looks like plants, like this gobo, how I can do that in Blender, how I can import plants, how can I make this jagged transmission walls and stuff, how can I make a backdrop, and you encounter 1 million problems and you can just step by step you try to solve them, and you can only do this if you try to learn from someone, because if you're just creating your own work, you always stay in your own comfort zone, But a different story. So let's first of all delete everything and let's start here with this podest. I don't know how it's in English, but here this metal piece in the middle. So just Shift A and go to mesh and go to cylinder, and maybe something is not perfect and something I could do better. Let me know in the comments, but I'm just doing this tutorial basically for me, just to get things going here on YouTube and to help some of you. So when you add this cylinder, go here, bottom left, and give it just 16 vertices, because we don't need so many segments, and make the radius also, I don't know, something much smaller, 0.5. Because when you work with this kind of scene, so realistically kind of, try to stay like in with real world measures. I know I don't do this in plasticity, but when you have like complex 3D scenes, so for rendering, it's much better, because then you don't have to bump up like your light strength to like some cosmic numbers and stuff, But that's fine. And just select it and S and just scale that down here on the Z axis a little bit. So something like that, maybe a little bit more. And I just want to bring it here to the floor, to the middle. And that's fine. And now press tab. So you're on edit mode, and now Control R. And you can add here a loop cut. So just left click and one more left click. And now Control B, and this way you can bevel that and just give it here a tiny little bevel. And one more time, so just Control R and just bring this one up here. And again, Control B and just drag that out a little bit. And so something like that, that's fine. And now press 3 for face mode, select this loop here and press E for extrude. And just press right click. And now press S. So you can scale that downward, so you can press SS. I have those gizmos here activated because I'm coming from Cinema 4D and that's 1,000,000 times better, I think. Anyway, press 3 again and alt click here on the loop and E for extrude, right click SS and just go here. Okay, so we're going a bit crazy, something like that. And that's cool. And just call that, I don't know how it's called. I just called it Podest, that's in German. And what now? So now we can go here to the modifiers and we want to add the subdivision surface. And sorry if my damn chair is doing weird noise here. I'm in Airbnb right now and yeah, the chair is not the best. But yeah, basically we need here some bevels and then we smash a subdivision surface on that. So add modifier, generate a bevel and just add here 2 segments and make it something very small and add modifier, generate and subdivision surface and go give it here 2 in the viewport. That's fine. And right click and shade smooth. So you have something like that. And that should be it. So yeah, you can give it here a little bit of a bigger fillet radius. That's fine. And by the way, Control S and save your Blender file here. And that's fine. Now let's add this backdrop here. Very simple. Shift A, just add a plane. SS, make it a bit smaller, bigger. And press Tab. Press 2, select this edge and E for extrude. Press Z so you extrude this upwards. And just give this whole plane. So let's double click and call it backdrop, BD. And add a modifier and again generate bevel and give it here a nice amount and a lot of segments. Right click, so press tab, so in object mode and shade smooth. And go back to the object mode, select 3 face mode and with G just bring us a little bit to the background. So yeah, we can always adjust it. So I really like to work always procedurally if that's possible. So we can adjust here the backdrop and this always look like this infinite. So this is how you are doing this. So don't do, because I see it always in my community also when people make some product renderings, they do backdrop and something like that, but that looks super garbage and you see where it ends. Whereas when you do it something like that, you will see when we create in a second the camera and even give it, how's it called, like a depth of field. It has like this kind of infinite backdrop effect, right? So what we also have here in our reference image. So that's fine. And now we can start to add our camera and to frame that, because then we can add all of those other objects. So what I want to do is just go here to the top left till you have this plus and just drag that out a little bit. So really just a little bit. And now just go here to the right, Shift A, and let's add a camera. So yeah, camera. And with G, just bring it here to the top and you see it's looking a little bit weird. So press N, go to the properties. Oh, I'm sorry guys, my chair is always making noises. If you hear it, I can't do anything. I don't have other chairs here. But yeah, so, and give all values here to 0. So just select and drag down and press 0. So the camera is here and just bring it up a little bit. And now with R, rotate. And if you press, I don't know what's on Windows, I'm using Mac here, but if you're pressing Alt or Control or something, you can go here in 5 degrees rotation steps. So rotate it 90 degrees. And with G again, bring it, yeah, back here, and on the left view, go into your camera. And first of all, this is like a 4:5, I guess, ratio. So go here to the right, and yeah, first of all, go here to this icon, to the output properties, and 4:5, what is that? So on the X, we have 1000 and 1200. So yeah, that looks right. Something like that. But yeah, anyway, so something like that. And here, make sure you are in the camera, right? And now, first of all, always when you have product shots or something like that, it's, if you go to your camera settings, the focal length, take a high amount. So let's start with something like 120, because if you have like a very low focal length, it stretches a lot and it just looks much more, yeah, kind of flat, and the proportions are much more straight the higher you go with the focal length, but don't go too high, then it looks like orthographic, right? But let's start with something like 120. And now, so you see on the left, we see our reference. And by the way, I don't want to see this thing here, so press T. So let's bring it here, and I don't want it very big. So now you see, you can just adjust. So here on the bottom left, I have the reference. And here at the top, I see the image. Maybe let's make our image here a little bit taller. So I don't know, something 1300, something like that. But yeah, anyway. And first of all, already what I see is that our podest here is a little bit out of shape. So it's a little bit too fat. So we have to make it more skinny. So it has to starve. So just press S and just scale that a little bit on the Z-axis, just to make it a little bit flatter. And again, press G, bring it here to the bottom. So something like that, and just zoom in here a little bit. Yeah, so for now that's fine. So press Ctrl S, because now we can place all of this other stuff into the scene, and we will adjust like the focal length, the angle, everything in the process. So also what a lot of beginners do, they try to do everything perfect from the beginning on, whether it's lighting, materials, camera setup, framing, any of that, but it's impossible. It always has to be like a process, because everything plays with each other, you know? So the scale, here the plans and stuff, and the perspective, you know, when you do one thing, it will always affect all of the other things. So especially when it comes, you will see materials and lighting. So yeah. And by the way, you know, when it comes to 3D tutorials, I'm always talking a lot around that and explain you all of those concepts. So just let me know if you want that, if you like that, or if you just want like do that and that and that and that. But I find when it comes to 3D rendering, there is so much stuff that you have to know, or that is benefiting you to your understanding. But because I see a lot of beginners do a lot of beginner mistakes because they don't understand like simple concepts and stuff, right? So yeah, I think I have to explain that, but just let me know in the comments. Yeah, so let's go now with this wrapped jagged glass walls. So again, super simple, Shift A, just create the mesh and the plane. So press R and X and just type in 90, so 90 degrees. And now with G, just bring it up. And this one is in the background, and make it with SS for now, just a little bit bigger. So something like that, and just position that roughly where we have it in the reference. We will adjust. So here you see already the angle and proportions are not correct. And again, press Tab and Control R and go here to the top, and just with your scroll wheel, just make a lot of cuts. So something like that. and just press once left click and right click. And now press F3 and here search for checker deselect. So this way you select every second of them, but you have to select the first one. So just press 2 and with shift click, select the first one and the last edge. And now just with G, just, give it a little bit something like that. So maybe not so much. And now we want to give it some rounding. So go to modifier and just add a bevel. Just add here more segments. And now you see we have this wavy texture or wavy structure. And also press tab and right click shade smooth. So I think that looks fine. You can adjust that, but yeah, I think that looks cool. And what now? Now we want to also give it some thickness, because always when you create glass materials, always add the thickness, because it will look more realistically and the light can bend much more precise. So react physically. And so go here at modifier, add one more solidify. You see, give it some thickness, and now our shading looks super weird. So for that, add one more modifier here, normal, smooth by angle, and now you see it's fine. And one more modifier, because you see always, like every object in this world, so yeah, I know most of you know that, but just if not, we never have this kind of perfect angle. So we always need fillets and bevels. So especially when it comes to glass and you do this kind of glass renders, abstract stuff, you always need some fillets, because this will give you dispersion and this will just break the light very nicely and can give you really beautiful effects. So it's not, we don't need it here in the tutorial, but just do that. So add modifier, generate and bevel. And this looks super weird because it's too big. So just give it here a super tiny value and give it a few more segments. So here, very tiny value 001. So you have something like that, but also drag the smooth normal, like the smooth beveled modifier to the bottom. So now it looks fine. And yeah, we have our first wall. And just press Shift D, right click, and now with G, you can bring this one, to the front. And you see that looks pretty fine. And I really like it, but it's not quite there yet. But yeah, so for now, I mean, it's fine, but again, because also just one more thought, for most of the people that would be fine, but you see we have here at the bottom left a little bit more distance in the camera view in the framing. So I really want to do it as perfect as possible, because this way you just learn and how to look, how to replicate stuff, and you just learn and you train your eye. That's what I want to say. So take your camera. Okay, so first of all, rename as always everything. So glass and glass 2. Control S, always make sure that you save everything. So yeah, select the camera and just bring it a little bit more. And also we want to make our podest even smaller. So again, just zoom in, make it a bit tinier. So if you bring the camera up, then you have to rotate it also a little bit. So again, I press N, property windows, and we just want to rotate it on the X-axis and just a little bit rotate with shift just a little bit down. So we just kind of look a little bit more downwards. So you see now it's so something like that. Now, so I think our whole thing can be a bit bigger, and this glass can go a little bit back. Perfect. So that looks really good. And now we can bring in our plans, and we're super simple. So use bridge from Megascans. So right now also when you're watching this video, I think all of the assets are free or will be free, because Megascans is changing their business model, and migrating all the assets to Fab or something. I don't know, but I think they're all free right now. Or you can bring in your own plans of something. But first of all, if you don't know what kind of plant it is, because I know this plant, but I don't know the name of that plant. So what you can do is just download that image here. So right click save, right? And just go to ChatGPT. So here is what I did. So just upload that image and what kind of plant is it? And this is just telling you the name. It's so crazy. And so then you just, copy this name here. So Kamadorea. And you copy that and you just bring it to Bridge. Below this video, I will link you 1 or 2 tutorials how you install Bridge and how you connect it with Blender. Super simple. Just pause this video in a second. When I will export it, go to the tutorial, install Bridge, install the plugin and stuff. Super simple. Takes you 2 minutes. And so I will just post that here in the top. And then you see here, we have it. And we just have 2 of them. So, just select that. And then you can download that. 2K resolution is fine. And then you just have to download that. And make sure your export settings are here to Blender. Again, just go to the tutorial below the video or let me know. I can do that as well, but there are already a few. So then I just press here export and then you see it's just exporting and you see I have all of my plants here in the scene. And if you go to material view, you see all of the materials are applied. So that's, just God level user experience. And now, so also you see you have a group here and you have 4 different ones. So I just want to take the first one. And so first of all, now we also need to go here in the render view. So we just go here to cycles. So just press on that circle, go to render engine, cycles, make GPU. So that looks great. And just for now, we just need some light in the scene. We will use it different, our own light, but just for now, so we can adjust the plans. Go to here to this symbol, to the world, and make the color, just make it much brighter, right? So we have something like that, because now you can select your plant and just, again, get it exactly as what we have in the reference. And also just for now, I want to give our glass some glass material so we can see through at least. So we are starting already to get our view right. So for that, I will just drag one more window down here. And here, so on the left, we have our render, right? At the bottom, we have our scene. And in the top, if you click here and go to shader editor, you have your materials. So just click on your glass and create a new material and just call this material glass. And only for now, just go to transmission and just make it to white, 1. But you see, you can't see through because we have too much roughness. So just bring down the roughness. And everything looks a little bit weird right now, but that's fine. We will fix everything. And just select the second one and just give it here the same glass material. And also, let's just give here our plane a new material. Select the plane, just give it a new material and just make it a little bit blue for now. Again, that looks everything garbage right now, but that's fine. We will fix everything. Because what I want to do is I just want to position those plants as we have here in our reference image, and also give the plants, because you see it's a little bit jagged. So just select your plant and add modifier generate, just give it here a subdivision and give it here 2 segments. So it will be just a little bit smoother. And now, I will just rotate and scale this around and just fast forward to get the plants to the position. Oh, and by the way, I only want to see what is here in my render view. So just press Ctrl B and just drag that like a box, because now you're only seeing exactly what you will see in your render. Okay, so we have something like that. It's maybe not quite exact, but for me it's fine here right now. And now what we want to do is, so here this gobo light effect, right? So you see the lights, it's not just the light. We have some, texture, noise. It's kind of, the sun is shining, and between the sun and our scene, there are more plants which are casting the shadows. So it's called gobo, right? And you have 1 million different techniques how you can do that, but just one super simple one is what I will show you here. So especially if you don't need a lot of detail, so when it's a little bit blurred and just looks like a noise texture, then we can also just use that. So, what we want to do is, first of all, go back to your world view and just make the strength a little bit less. So make it dark, so we really see what we will create with our light. And now go to your scene here, Shift A, and create a light, and we need an area light. And this area light we will just bring up, and we will just bring it to the front left, so it can shine a little bit into our scene, right? And also direct it here to the middle somewhere, and with SS definitely make it much bigger. And also we want, if you go to the light settings, we want a disk. So it's not so important, but just do a disk right now. And perfect. So now we don't see anything. So just up the light power for now. I don't know, make something like 1000. And now you see that's fine. But to get a gobo, we need like a spotlight, because, you know, like this light right now is just shining all over the place. So if we go out of the scene, you see it's just making everything bright, but we don't want that, right? Because we want, so if you go to the light settings, here you have the spread. And if you just go very, very low, so here you see it perfectly, we just bundle if you check out my plasticity bundles, right? But yeah, so we can bundle that light, and we can just narrow it down, and all of our light intensity is just not going all over the place, but much more direct. And this is what we want. So just go for now and make a spread like something like 1. So you will just see what I'm doing, and just make your light much bigger, so you're covering a lot of your scene. And again, we will adjust everything in a second, but now the cool thing is, select your area light and you can use node, right? Because now you can work with your light in the node editor. And again, so from this point, there are, I don't know, like 5 different techniques at least how we can create a gobo light. But one of them, so maybe I will show you 2, is we have this emission here, right? But we want a texture to it. So just drag the color out and search for noise texture. So noise texture color, and that's fine, but you see the noise texture has some color. We don't want that. So just drag the FAC to color, and now it's in black and white. And now if you also reduce the roughness, you see it's getting more stronger. And if you press Shift A and you search for color ramp, and if you bring this color ramp here to the middle, and if you just drag in the white and the black, you can even make the contrast stronger. And also just make this 3D to 4D. So we can just play around with the noise, this seed or something, I guess. And you see, so we have something like that. And here in the scale, if you make it smaller, you see we are making it bigger, but we don't have quite yet this, what we have in our reference image. So for that, you have here some different types of noise. You can play around with them and just check them out, right? But I just go with this FBM. And here we have distortion. And if you give it some distortion and a little bit of this Lucan, so what stands Lucan for? Lucanarity, I don't know. And you see, you can just give it a little bit of stuff ongoing. So you break down the noise a little bit. And now I just want to make it a little bit bigger and reduce the detail to 0 and play a little bit with the distortion value. Play a little bit around with the roughness. And now you see, so if we make it a little bit like that, so you see it looks weird from the top, but again, if you go into your camera, you see it works pretty fine. But we want to cover our whole scene, so just make the light, so you see much bigger. And bring it maybe here to the front. So you see we're covering everything, but now we also need again more emission strength. And you see, like now we can't really see if it's like a texture or if it's a noise texture because it's anyway very blurred. But yeah, we have to adjust a lot. So first of all, what I don't like is the shadow of the plant in the background. I don't want to see it like in the background. I want to see it on the bottom, like on the ground. Why is that? It's because here our backdrop is, this rounding is way too close. So just select this backdrop, press tab, press 3 face mode and just bring this down here. So more towards the back. And now again, go out of your camera view and just, again, select the light and just adjust this. So you're covering the whole scene. So something like that. Go back. And now you see it's not at the background anymore. Now the shadow is at the bottom. And yeah, you can also play a little bit around like that. And maybe you're wondering, oh, okay, why do we see the noise here on our backdrop? It's, because on the backdrop, but let's already give here some, how's it called? Some depth of field. So we just make the background nice, like blurry. So go to the selected camera and go to the camera settings and depth of field. And now just, first of all, select the focus object. This is our podest here. And now go to the, it's not the distance. It's here the f-stop and just reduce the f-stop. And you see if you reduce this, if the value is too small, you have too much of that. So I just want a little bit. And we still see that in the background. So just. So it's still too strong. So we want to blur everything. So select your light and go back to your, where was it? To your spread and just slowly increase the spread a little bit. So not too much. So you see something like that. And if you go back to the camera, that looks much better, but maybe it's a bit too strong. And I want go back to your color ramp and again increase a little bit the contrast. But here you see there are so many little pieces that you can adjust and all that kind of stuff. So you can also add less or more distortions as you want. Maybe like that. But something like that. I know it's not exact, but I wanted to show this technique and it's a lot of tweaking and it's already taking so much time. So and also, so the second technique would be is if you just go to Google and you just search for plant gobo texture as a PNG, and you see you have all of those different how's it called, patterns, right? And if you need more detail, if it has to be more sharp, then definitely go with something like that, because then you see, okay, that's a real tree or a specific grass or plant, whatever, or window can also be, and just load this image into an image texture node and not a noise texture. But for this example, I'm super fine with that. And now let's just adjust the colors of everything. So yeah, absolutely beginner stuff here. So select the plane first and rename this to BD, right? Backdrop, and make it just darker and give it more saturation, maybe a bit brighter. See, and now again, I see my shadows are a bit too strong. So what you also, the gobo. So what you can do is you can go to area, and if you select this black, you can even make it just more towards the gray, right? And this way you just make it not so contrasty, right? Because the blacks are not black, but a little bit brighter and stuff like that. But if we check out our plants, I don't know why they are brown. So maybe they are just too dark. So if you select the plant, and if you are here in the node editor and we have the base color, and you can just adjust it if you press Shift A and you search for color gamma. So you can bring a gamma node inside, and you can just reduce a little bit the gamma. So you see we are getting a little bit more color, but we also want the hue. So Shift A and color hue. So again, bring this here in between and whoops, no, the hue is fine. So, but the saturation, you can bump up the saturation, you can bump up the value, and you see now it's getting what we want. But yeah, you have to make this a little bit darker again. Again, you can also play around with the hue and with all of those values, but yeah, I think the model is just also a little bit different because it's just in general a little bit different color. So yeah, something like that. You can play a little bit more around with that. Also here my plant is looking through the glass. I don't want it, so I just bring it a little bit here like that. And now also the glass, so just select the glass, and the base color, we want to add a tint of a blue. So you see, we just give it a little bit of a blue. Maybe even more like a turquoise, or how's it called in English? Something like that. And you can also play around with a roughness value. So just give it a little bit of a roughness. Also, if you go here to your world thing, what you can do, so first of all, because right now it's just white, so it's from everywhere we have some light. So if you bump it to a lot, then you see everything gets very white. If you just bring it to 0, then our only light source is our gobo light here. But always when you want to work like photorealistically, you want to add kind of an environment HDI texture, which mimics something as it would be like the environment of our scene. So it's not just white, right? So we need to add a texture. So we have to change it from color, so select a dot, to environment texture. And now if you open and if you go to your HDRIs, so I guess you know how to get them, right? Just HDRI Heaven or something, free websites, and just pick something what is like that. So just imagine how can you achieve in the real world this kind of an image, right? So in my opinion, it would be like a studio, like a photography studio, where you place a backdrop, where you place some plants, where you have like this glass or plastic walls and this podest, right? So it would not be like outside in the nature, or it would not be like on the highway or something, right? It would be like a photography studio. So for that, I just taken photography studio HDRI environment, can be any. So that just mimics this kind of stuff. So I have one here. So I just take this one, and now if I just increase a little bit the value, I just brighten up the scene, and now you see, so you will not really see it. I mean, I could take any environment texture, right? Because we don't have reflections here in the scene. But just again, just do it right from the beginning, because later when you work on photorealistic stuff, so like, I don't know, car, and you have car paint and you see the reflection, then obviously you don't put it like in a photo studio, but more like on the street or in the nature or something. So you see it, right? So, but you see already it's much, much better, everything. So now we just want to add here some metal material. So select the podest, press new, call that again podest, and give it here metal value 1, and give it here a little bit of a golden tint, but also reduce the roughness. And our thing is a bit too blue. It's because our environment, so our backdrop, it's just way too saturated. So you see, if you just bring it down a little bit, everything gets a little bit more natural, and I like that much more. So yeah, something like that. You can play with the lights, you can play with the color of the plants, but that's okay here for now. And now you just want to render that. So go here to your, how's it called? To your resolution. You can do something cool and high quality, and adjust the samples here in the render. So I don't know, something like 800 will be more than enough, and click here denoise. And then you just go to render and render image, and you see our plant here in the middle. So just stop the render, and also here close the camera symbol, and again render image. And you see, that looks almost as our reference image. And now what you can do is just place some perfume bottle, cosmetics, I don't know, anything. And you can pitch some clients, hey, I can do that and that. I can help you to present like your products in a beautiful aesthetical way, something like that. And yeah, just make a bit of money off that. So let me know in the comments if you want more Blender tutorials. And yeah, I think I will do a few more in the future. I don't know. I can't promise you anything. So yeah, definitely leave a like and subscribe if you're new to this channel, because you will most probably get more Blender tutorials. So just let me know in the comments right now if you want that, what kind of tutorials you want, if you liked something, if you did not like something what I did, so I can make my tutorials better in the future. Yeah, leave a like and subscribe. See you in the next one. Bye.